Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. So this video is about the Mercury retrograde that's happening on April 1st through April 25th. And this is part 1 of the Mercury retrograde video, as part 2 is available on Patreon, where I go into each zodiac signs and any channeled message or detailed things that's standing out to me about this energy, how to make the most of it and how to prepare for it. So when it comes to Mercury retrograde, so whenever Mercury is in retrograde, we say that Mercury is in reverse. So, Mercury rules over the mind. So when Mercury is in reverse, that means the mind is looking back. So whenever a planet is in retrograde, for me, it looks like watching cars on the highway. So when you're watching cars on the highway, imagine all the cars are moving at top speed, and the speed that they're moving at is in sync with each other. So they're all moving together at top speed. But then there's this one car that's moving way slower than the rest, or it was moving just as fast as the rest, and then it started slowing down. So because it's slowing down and the others continue to move forward, it looks like it's moving, it's reversing, when really it's not reversing, it's just slowed down the speed. So for me, when a planet is in retrograde, like say Mercury, that means the speed has slowed down so much to the point that the energy of that planet is amplifying. I think about how whenever we have a full moon, the gravitational pull from the moon is so strong to where it affects the tides within the ocean, and then we're made up of mostly fluid. So you always hear about how people go loony during a full moon, because I feel like the gravitational pull from the moon is also pulling on our emotions as it's pulling on the fluids within us. And water deals with emotions. So when Mercury is in retrograde, that planet's energy has slowed down so much to where our mind is laser focused on wherever Mercury is. So whatever sign Mercury is in, and the other planets that are there or in relations to it, is like the attention and the focus of the mind has slowed down so much to where we're looking back at that thing. So while Mercury is in retrograde, we always talk about how that's not a good time to start a business or start things or sign contracts or make major decisions. And the reason why people say that, I think, is because, while Mercury is in retrograde, everybody is looking back. So if everybody is looking back, then they're going to make a lot of mistakes, because it's like trying to drive a car while your focus is behind you. There's going to be a crash. But I personally believe just because Mercury is in retrograde doesn't mean that my life has to stop. And I've noticed in my past that I've signed a lot of major contracts during a Mercury retrograde, and in all of them, it has always worked out for me. Because in the moment of me signing the contract, I'm in manifestation mode. I have an image in my mind of a certain kind of outcome. So because I'm in manifestation mode and I'm lasered in on that image, with people not paying attention, it kind of leaves, it's like say, everybody is sleepwalking. So it's like it leaves their homes and everything available for those who are awake to go in and take what they want. Not saying that during Mercury retrograde, I look to take advantage of people. But during Mercury retrograde, I'm aware of the fact that people aren't paying attention. So if I'm paying attention and I'm present and I'm holding the frequency of what it is that I want, then my will be done. Like thy will be done. I will get what it is that I want. And even if there's any confusion or chaos in the situation, it works out in my favor. Even when things appear to be going against you, it could be going in your favor if you're clear about what it is that you want. So with Mercury retrograde in Aries, Mercury retrograding, and this Mercury retrograde is not just any kind of Mercury retrograde. This Mercury retrograde is not just any kind of Mercury retrograde for the simple fact that on April 8th, we're going to have a major solar eclipse happening in the sign of Aries. And that's going to be happening while Mercury is in retrograde. And when I think of, like, say, the numerology around April 2024, April 2024 adds up and reduces to number 3 vibration. And the number 3 is the child. It's a tangible outcome of something that has been, it's a tangible outcome of a thought that have been nurtured and given birth to. So April 2024 to me is a powerful month because a lot of us are going to start seeing the fruits of our labor. I think of the story of growing a bamboo tree where you spend so many years watering this plant and nothing happens, only for after a certain amount of years, the plant grows how many hundreds of feet within the space of weeks or months or something like that. So for a lot of us, we've been watering certain things and probably look crazy to people as we're hustling hard away at something. And it seems like we're wasting our time, where as we're entering and flowing through the month of April, opportunities are it's going to seem like something happened for you overnight, where like the bamboo plant, you've been watering this thing for years. And to others, some people, you may have looked crazy doing this thing and nothing is happening. And for others, it'll look like, oh, that just happened for you overnight. Like, you didn't have to work hard. It just happened overnight. And April is also a month of security and stability. So as we're reflecting, we're looking back at ourselves, because Mercury is in Aries. So we're reflecting on ourselves as individuals. We're reflecting on our image. We're reflecting on our ambition. Some of us might reflect on ourselves and see how we need to reinvent ourselves. I think of like an artist or a company reinventing themselves, changing the name, changing the brand, doing some kind of transformation after taking a look at how we're showing up, our motivations, the things that wound us, that cause us to not have motivation with, say, Chiron conjunct Mercury. But while Mercury is in retrograde and in the month of April, stability and security is a factor. So we're reflecting on ourselves as individuals and how it's affecting our stability, how it's affecting our security. We're in the 8th year. So some people will reflect on themselves, their motivations, their actions, what keeps them stuck, and decide that they're going to go back to school, because the 8th year deals with just that. They're going to start a new career path. They see something new for themselves. With the Mercury retrograde energy, and I said, April 2024 is a month where people are going to be starting to reap the benefits of their rewards. This month and the Mercury retrograde energy would remind me of, say, getting this job. It's like an opportunity has landed in your lap, but it didn't come from nowhere. It came from the work that you've put in. And from this opportunity landing in your lap, the Mercury retrograde gives you an opportunity to reflect on whether you can handle it or not. I think of, like, say, someone who has been creating content, and you've been pretty much consistently creating content, and then you have a viral moment, and then Mercury retrograde causes you to reflect and ask yourself, can I handle it? Because the viral moment could be like, say, winning the lottery without the money, but depending on some people, how that viral moment happens, you get money with it, but then now your privacy feels violated. Now you feel like you're out in the open and everyone's picking you apart and having an opinion and this and that, where the Mercury retrograde energy allows you to reflect on yourself and ask yourself, like, can I handle it? It's like getting a new job and going on a probation period. And the Mercury retrograde is the probation period. And I feel like a probation period in a job is where the company is looking at you and see if you're a good fit. And you should also be looking at the company and seeing if it's a good fit, because they're not doing you a favor. You're not doing them a favor. This is an equal exchange. So opportunities are presenting itself, and this Mercury retrograde allows you to sit back and say, do I have the ability to respond to this thing that I've manifested? That's like me opening up a business or opening up, say, my salon. And it's like, wow, I achieved this big thing that I've always wanted to achieve. And it's like, but I don't know if it's for me. The idea of it was dope, but now I'm sitting in it. It feels like I created a beautiful cage for myself. This is Mercury retrograde opportunity allows you to reflect on yourself, your image, how you're showing up, and also wounds, different wounds to yourself collectively, how we've been wounded, how our ambition have been wounded. Reflect on how some of us have been through certain things. And because of the things that we've been through, we lack the ambition and the motivation to take action because we don't believe we have what it takes, or we believe that we'll fail. So with Aries energy being the competitor and being first, a lot of us won't start things because we're afraid to fail. Whereas like if I never started, no one could say I failed. So this is where we give up on ourselves and give up on what's in our heart. With Mercury in retrograde and Aries conjunct the North Node, we're reflecting on how destiny with the North Node energy calls us to put ourselves out there, calls us to be seen. And there'll be a time when Mercury conjuncts the Sun. We're reflecting on our identity in relations to the way how we're showing up. With the solar eclipse, we're reflecting on ourselves, our identity, and getting the things that we want. Like I said, the probation period. For some, this Mercury retrograde and Aries energy can confirm victim consciousness mindset, as so much time is spent reflecting on Chiron in Aries, the wounds that we've been through and why we are the way we are and don't have the things we have and why life is against us. I feel like for some that could justify not putting yourself first. That could justify dimming your own light and giving up on your dreams. And I feel like for others, it'll create a hero story. Hero story in the sense that a person spends the time and they reflect on themselves in so many different ways, on so many different angles. And then the new moon solar eclipse comes in and amplifies certain things and opens portals that brings in opportunities. And that inspires certain people to say, look at where I've come from and look at what I've been through. And then turn their pain into purpose. Like Chiron, the wounded healer. You know, we've all been through some things, and some of the things that some of us have been through will never heal. But the fact that it never heals is actually a blessing, even though it feels like a curse. It's a blessing because in the process of us spending our time creating peace and comfort for this thing, we're being an expert when it comes to this thing. We're becoming an expert from our personal experience with this thing. And I personally feel like, you know, true healers and teachers come from a place of personal experience. So from the process of us working on ourselves and creating peace for ourselves, we develop the knowledge and the experience to hold the light for others. That allows us to niche down when it comes to certain career paths or interests and spend the life pretty much creating peace for yourself, but holding the light for others and make a living doing so. So in the process of you making a living to provide for yourself, it doesn't even feel like you're working because you're just spending time becoming the best version of you for the sake of peace. And then you're just sharing with other people what it is that you're doing. You don't need to have all the answers, just share your experience. Because in the process of you sharing your experience, and I'm not saying for everybody needs to have a YouTube channel, everybody needs to have a podcast, it could be, say you're a nurse and you experience a certain health situation. And from experiencing that health situation that you were able to heal yourself from or balance out this thing within your body that others also struggle with, you now decide to create a blog or specialize in that specific field. You know, this is bringing me to the book Mastery by Robert Greene, one of my favorite books. And in Mastery, it teaches us how our beginnings, how we came into this world, everything that we've been through pretty much played a role in making us who we are. I feel like every experience we've had is a prereq building us up to the main thing, to the main event. And even what we perceive as a main event is a prereq for the next. But I feel like our pain helps us to remember who we are, because without our pain, our head would just be in the clouds and we wouldn't be rooted or grounded anywhere. But for me, pain is a bookmark that holds space for our transformation. So while we're reflecting on the things that we've been through and the things that we value, how we value ourselves, how we value our pain, our wounds, and how we value those wounds, I feel like the blessings from this Mercury retrograde energy is we rise from this like the phoenix rising from the ash. Some might, allow all of this focus to cripple them in place. But I have a good feeling that, most of you will allow this energy to make you rise and make you even more clear about your path, the path you want to be on. Because when we hear people say, oh, what's your purpose in life and things like that, it seems like only certain people have a purpose, when we all have this thing that we're more interested in than anything else. We all have this thing that we'll get up and focus our attention on most days, to where time goes by so fast when we're doing that thing. It's just that simple. What is it that you enjoy doing so much to where you would do it for free? And a lot of the times when we're focused on healing ourselves and bringing more peace to our lives, we can find ourselves falling in love with that thing because it brings peace. And in the process of creating peace for ourselves, we find our purpose. In the process of allowing ourselves to be and enjoy the things we enjoy, we find purpose. Because in the process of us living our lives unapologetically, we give others permission to do so. Most of us don't realize how powerful permission is. Like, since children, we've been conditioned to seek permission for everything. So sometimes we need to see others looking like us, doing the things that we don't have the courage to do, so we could get permission to do it, until we learn to give ourselves permission. So never take for granted your level of influence. Never take for granted the way how you could make others feel or change someone's life just from you being you. So when it comes to this Mercury retrograde energy in Aries, I personally feel like this is the most powerful Mercury retrograde of the year. I feel like it's the most powerful of the year because this Mercury retrograde energy is reinventive. It's transformative and reinventive. This is where we are, from this retrograde, we will reinvent ourselves. That's what's so powerful about this Mercury retrograde. From it, we will reinvent ourselves. And those of you who have business to conduct and important things to do, just know that your intentions trump everything. Be clear about your intentions and the outcome that you want. And during that retrograde time, to me, it's almost like a veil is thin. It's like Halloween. The veil is thin because everybody, their eyes are flipped back, and all you can see is the white in everybody's eyes. And they're like zombies walking around getting their uploads or whatever. And like Halloween is like the veil is thin. And because the veil is thin, other things can easily come through for that one time of the year and have a physical experience or something like that. So during the Mercury retrograde, while everybody is looking back, yes, the gravity of it will call you to look back too. But with your level of awareness, you get to decide when you're going to look forward and when you're going to look back, opposed to everybody else unconsciously just looking back and forgetting that forward is an option. It was a pleasure sharing part 1 of this Mercury retrograde video with you. Part 2 is available on Patreon. Hey guys, I want to share with you 7 benefits of getting a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session. The first one is understanding your internal programming. The second one is becoming more clear about your purpose and passion. The third is setting goals for success. The fourth is awareness of strength and areas of improvement. And the fourth one was foundational for me because whenever you're aware of your weaknesses, no one can use them against you. And when you're aware of your strengths, that makes you unstoppable. And that is why I say self-awareness is a superpower. The fifth benefit is removing obstacles. We first have to become aware of a thing in order to remove it in the first place. The sixth benefit is understanding relationship dynamics. We don't have to change the people in our lives. We have to become aware of ourselves and start from there, and everything changes. And the seventh benefit is upcoming transits, if that's something that you would like to look into because you're planning for something or you just want to be aware. So if you're interested in booking a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session or learning more about it, the link to book or the link to send me an email for questions are both within the description box below. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, where I share exclusive content, and also to become a part of the meetup group, which is my favorite thing on Patreon, the link to check out what's happening on Patreon is in the description box below. Please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a blue heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.